I mean, the other issue that has looked like it might be a wedge issue has been net zero. What do you make of the Prime Minister's, well, I'm trying to think of the appropriate word, softening, if you like, of government policy or slight shifts to government policy? Has that concerned you that, I mean, there are signs, I mean, they're more marked in other countries than this one at the moment, that this is becoming politicised and is turning into an issue where the right in particular is saying, you know, we should push back on this.
So I think, again, I do tend to look to the constituency. So mine is a big rural constituency, huge numbers of people off the mains gas grid, lots of people where the idea that you're going to, I know, the banning wood burners conversation, for instance, that is simply not viable. And the Prime Minister's softening the slope from one place to another, to me, in an area like mine, for lots of issues, is simply the only practical option. Like you can be wishful thinking about heat pumps and all of that, but it is not always the plan that you can pursue. What I do think, on a sort of higher level than the parochial, if you like, is we do have to say, people say more than anything else they care about this issue in theory. We know it's the
in your constituency included.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And we know that it's the right thing to do from a climate point of view. We've got to find a way of doing the sort of the challenging dual thing that people failed to do around when they wanted to win the Remain argument for Brexit, is to say, look, it's not just pragmatically in your interest to do this, but you've got to believe in it. You've got to win the argument as well as get a stick out, whether it's taxation or banning gas boilers or whatever. And I think there are some parts of the country, be it geographically, where they might be particularly rural, where that argument is a long way from one. And it is not just for government to play that role, but I do think it shouldn't be the case that you end up in a position where you say, look, we can leave this for the next generation, because at some point you run out of generations.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I find most irritating about the debate is this slightly sort of patronising attitude in the South that, you know, the Oiks up north aren't going to support net zero, are they? And actually, there's no polling that supports this whatsoever. But there's some very lazy assumptions about, you know, those voters won't want to buy into this. And
so I think we get dangerously close to those the polls that said sort of people who voted for Brexit were less educated and that sort of thing. And I think there are two problems with it. Sort of one, scratch the surface and it's not wholly true. Two, the votes of people who are less educated or live in different places are not worth less than the votes of people who are more educated. You've got to grapple with that, and you've got to win arguments in different